Well, welcome here, everybody. We're at the National Lunch and Learn League event hosted by Annie Mac Home Mortgage. We're so proud of the mortgage professionals that are across the country with the Annie Mac Nation, really partnering with their real estate referral partners at the brokerage level and with groups of real estate associates across the country. We know we have rooms filled with realtors out in Denver right now and through the New England states. Really excited about our groups in Florida, and we just want to welcome everybody here to the National Lunch and Learn League. This is a very appropriate time, very relevant, and I think timely conversation to have with our real estate partners across the country. That's because today we're going to focus on business planning. And I think a lot of you may have a reservation about business planning, goal setting, setting up accountabilities for yourself for the 2018 calendar year. But I want you to really consider embracing the opportunity that you have today to business plan with one of the consummate professionals from the Annie Mac Nation. We're going to introduce her in just a minute. I'm so proud to have Christine with us. But I want to just say something about business planning. Don't think of it as a comprehensive or maybe a complicated vehicle. Instead, I want you to think about the word conviction. What do you believe about your business? What do you believe about your ability? What do you believe specifically about what you want to accomplish over the next quarter, over the next 6 months, and especially over the 2018 calendar year? And if you think about it like that, you think about what your core belief is in yourself. What does your personal self-esteem allow you to desire in 2018? And can you, in fact, build a plan to achieve just that? I get the opportunity to work with every day Christine Beckwith. She is the National Vice President of Realtor and Sales Management for Annie Mac Home Mortgage. We have a nickname for Christine Beckwith in the Annie Mac Nation, and that is Buffy. Buffy the Mortgage Slayer, and we're so very, very proud to have Buffy partner with Annie Mac Works today to introduce some core ideology about your upcoming business plan. So Christine Beckwith, take it away.
Thank you so much, Russ. I'm so glad to be here and to be bestowing on all of you the 7 core philosophies of blueprinting for success and business planning. This is a class that I've been teaching for a very long time to great success and results. This is something that many realtors have been taking from me, hundreds of realtors over the last decade that have proven results in terms of applying these 7 core philosophies. So I'm super excited to bring these to you today. So with no further ado, I want to jump right in to the blueprint for success. You should have all been given this blueprint by your loan officers that you are with today. If you haven't, asked them for a copy. You can take this down on a notepad just as easily. So one of the things that you're going to do in your number 1 spot is write the word future. This is the first step in the 7 steps of these core philosophies. So this number 1 core philosophy, the word future, what does it mean? It means writing down your annual income that you desire to have in the next year. So it doesn't matter when you start your business plan. If it happens to be at the beginning of the calendar year, that's a great thing, but it doesn't have to be. I tell everyone to start their business plan at the first of the following month. So give yourself time to mentally get ready. So much success in business planning, I have found, comes from being able to put your mind in a place where you understand several things, but the number 1 thing is the goal that you're going after. So it doesn't matter what kind of business you have, but as a realtor, we know that you have income goals in mind. So go ahead in the number 1 spot, the future spot, and write down your annual income. I often get asked, what if I make that annual income goal way more than I'm currently making? Well, we're going to get to number 2 in a moment, which is your current income. And we're going to talk about the difference between where you are and where you're going. But for a moment, I want to expand on the future box. What I want you to know is that there is really no goal that's too high. And I certainly want people to stretch for their income goals. I always use analogies when I'm teaching, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of my best analogies in teaching this term. You do not want to have binoculars to see your goal. So I always say, don't make it so far-fetched that it's impossible to meet. At the same time, the goal here isn't to check this box off and make the goal so low that you absolutely know from the start that you're going to achieve it. Because the plan is not about winning necessarily in terms of achieving everything that you set out to do, but more getting out of your comfort zone, stretching, and getting to a new level that you've never before experienced. So when you're writing your future income goal, I would make it a stretch goal, but I wouldn't make it something you're super comfortable with. And I have seen people that have successfully doubled their income writing a business plan and using my 7 core philosophies. And they've done that by taking action steps that we're going to talk about today to get to that end game goal. So your future goal and your annual income, whenever you're starting this business plan, should be, what do I intend on making in the next 12 months in my future income goal? That will be in your future box, and we'll come back to this. In the number 2 box on your blueprinting for success is the word current. So in this box, we need to say where we are right now. Where are you as a realtor? What did you earn this year? What is your year-to-date income? And I'm going to have you do a couple of calculations that are going to help you back into your future goal and really have you able to see what it is you need to do and what you need to achieve in order to get there. So let's talk for a minute about your current income. Let's say, for the sake of examples, that your current income has you making a year-to-date amount of income of $50,000. Now, this is just for example purposes. If you then looked and you discovered that that $50,000 that you earned was 5 home closings and your commissions on that. Again, these aren't real numbers, but we're doing easy numbers for the example of this calculation. We would then know that you earned $10,000 for each of the transactions that you did. So everybody has what we call an operating income. And that's true for any kind of business. How many widgets did you sell? How much did you make on each sale of that widget? And what is the total income that you have? So when you know that your operating income in the example that we just used is $10,000, let's say you made your future income goal $100,000, which is double what you're currently making. You would then know at $10,000 operating income that you would need to do 10 transactions this next year. So essentially doubling the amount of activity that you did this past year. So then you go one step further. What fed into the 5 transactions that you did year to date? What were you doing? Do you understand what your return on investment is for the marketing that you do? Do you understand the various marketing buckets that you're doing business in? It's important that you understand what your return is on the marketing efforts you make. So one of the exercises I do when I'm going over number 1, your future income goal, and number 2, your current income goal, is I ask you to write down the many ways that you're marketing. Maybe you're doing caravan. Maybe you're taking office telephone hours. Maybe you're doing a postcard mailing. Maybe you're calling on FSBOs. Maybe there's a lot of different ways that you're doing marketing, but how are those results coming in? Do you write down how many postcards you mailed out and how many people called back off those postcards? Do you write down how many doors you knocked on and how many people opened the door, engaged in a conversation with you, and gave you their information? Do you look at how many FSBOs you looked at, called upon, and how many people picked up the phone and talked to you? You need to know what your return on investment is in the way of marketing so you know where to expand, so you know how to get from the 5 transactions that you did this year to the 10 that you have on your future goal. That's the exercise between number 1 and number 2. So now let's talk about number 3. Number 3 on your blueprint for success is your key stakeholders. These are the people that are in your sphere of influence of importance, people that you want to make your plan public to, people that have a vested interest in your success. Who are they? Well, they should be people in your family, of course, people, your spouse, your partners in life, people that obviously want to see you make the income or increase your income, and of course, they're your managers and they're your peers, the people that are on your team, the people that are rooting for you. So what I want you to do is list all those people in your third part, your key stakeholder part, and right away I want you to tell those people when you finish writing these 7 core philosophies of your blueprint and share with them that you have these goals in mind. This is what you need to do because a lot is going to need to take place for this plan to be successful. So they are going to help you get there. Make it public, post it on social media, and let everybody know that it's a new year, it's a new plan, it's a new time for you, and that you have new goals that you're trying to achieve. That's number 3. Number 4 is the measures of success. How do you measure a business plan? I get this question all the time. And there is a real way to measure your business plan, and it's in 3 different ways. It's important you understand why we measure it in each way, and that you jot down these notes about each way that you're going to measure it. Number 1 is you measure against yourself. How did you look a month ago compared to now? So you're going to measure in monthly increments. So at the end of the first month of your business plan, you're going to look back at the prior month and look at the activities that you had. In real estate, it might be your prospecting and marketing activities. Did you do more of it? Did you mail more postcards? Did you do more caravanning? Did you take more floor time? Did you call more FSBOs? All the things and the ways that you do marketing, did you do more of it, and did you get better results? You are looking to measure your own activities against yourself. And the results will eventually in your business plan be rendered in terms of buyers and sellers and listings and actually closings. And you'll be able to measure if your activity is going up and up. And it should if you continuously measure against yourself. That's number 1. The second way that you're going to measure your success is you're going to measure against the average on your team. Why do we do this? The measuring of the average on your team takes several things as an assumption. One is that the people that are in your team, in your brokerage, and agents around you, they are selling in a similar market, they're working under the same brand, they're probably working with similar tools, and certainly working for the same manager. So while there may be variables that are a little bit different, like experience and maybe differences within the market, for the most part, all of the things that feed into that person's work are similar. So when you look at the average on your team, let's say the average agent in your office is closing 2 homes a month, but you're only closing 1. That would tell us that you have the ability to rise up to the average. You want to stay at the average for a lot of reasons. Number 1, it is good to be at least operating on the averages. If you're not, you're operating below what we consider capacity level. We call that the watermark. So that's a good test for yourself. If you're a new agent, then of course we understand if you're ramping yourself towards that average. But it's a great way to continuously measure yourself. Finally, the third way to measure your success is against the top person on your team. Why do you do that? I know we all like to, as a human being, kind of steer away from those people that are doing top consistent things. They're the same people that get celebrated and get the trophies. I get it. However, there's a lot of stuff that top person is doing right. So while I believe that not every person can emulate the same script or the same voice or the same ways even that the top person is marketing, you can still learn a ton from that person, and you should migrate to that person, and hopefully your broker is holding regular meetings where you're sharing best practices and you're learning from that top person. If not, ask your broker to hold a meeting and do just that. Or just go directly one-on-one and ask that top person what they're doing. They're probably doing things at the right time, in the right markets, in the right ways, and they're going to give you a lot of great advice, and you want to know what that is. So that is number 4. So let's stop here at about the halfway mark of these philosophies, and let's recap what we've just discussed. Number 1, what was your future income? We talked about writing a stretch goal. Number 2, what are you currently making? And then obviously stopping to figure out what your operating income is, and then backing into that future goal so you know what activities you have to do. If you haven't been measuring your marketing ROI, you're going to begin to do that. Buy a journal, write down the many ways you're marketing and the return that you're getting on that. Finally, you're going to make your plan public with all of the key stakeholders that are in your life. And we talked about who those people were. And then last, you're going to continuously measure the success of your business plan month over month in 3 ways: against your progress, against the average person, and against the top person. That brings us to the halfway mark. Okay, this now brings us to number 5 and the biggest part of your blueprinting document, daily activities. You're going to find that there's a box for each weekday, 5 of them, of course, Monday through Friday. There's so much that can go into this box, but I'm going to give you some suggestions. Really what belongs in this box are several things, and that is how you structure your day. Now, whether you're a part-time realtor or a full-time realtor, there are hours that you're working each and every day, and there is a maximum time for you. We always suggest that you spend 50% of your days, at least 4 out of 5 of the days, prospecting. That is going to allow you to basically get over 75% of your week into the prospecting bucket, which is how we create top sales agents. So keep that in mind. There's a best time to prospect, and obviously there's a lot of time management tips that I can give you as well. I would tell you to work in a quiet space. I would tell you to map out your week. I would tell you to maximize your prospecting ability by putting it in places where you have the least interruptions. I would tell you that face-to-face opportunities are the greatest opportunities for expanding your networks. And I would tell you that obviously your day-to-day actions are going to result in the results of everything in your business plan. So as entrepreneurs, a lot of times our daily activities are flexible, and we chose this field for a reason, so that we can parent, so that we can do other things, and that we can have the flexibility of making our own schedule. But what I'm going to tell you is it takes hours and it takes time, but you have to work smart. So dedicate yourself to your craft and the craft of selling homes and being a great real estate agent when you're going to put down the hours that you work, and do it undistracted, and focus primarily on prospecting, the things that are going to bring you money, and you are going to soar. So go ahead and list in your daily activities the hours you plan on working in each day. They can be different each day. How many hours within that day you plan on focusing on prospecting, and what those prospecting activities look like. And then go ahead and schedule blocked out time with no interruptions so that you can focus on driving that plan forward. Number 6 is one of the best parts of this whole core philosophies on business planning and blueprinting, and that is overcoming obstacles and hurdles. Absolutely so important that you have a way to overcome the obstacles that you're facing and things that might have derailed you in the past from having success with your business plan. So what I tell you to do is flip the entire blueprint over, and on the back, and you don't have to show this to anybody, but write down the things that you feel limit you. What I want to tell you is a lot of times as human beings, we will put down things that could be labeled excuses on this blueprint. Things like, I don't have as much experience as another agent or realtor, or I don't have the database that this other realtor has, or I don't have access to all the things, or I don't have a lot of money to market with. I'm going to tell you, don't worry about any of those things. Successful business people really come from a drive and a place where they see the opportunity and they don't worry about all the extra things. However, whatever obstacles you perceive and you write down, I want you to prescribe yourself a remedy to that obstacle and that hurdle. And then if you feel compelled, share that with your broker owner or your team lead in your office manager, your peers, and get advice on what they would give you for overcoming those obstacles. Sometimes those are good things to bring up in best practice meetings that other top producers can share with you that they can overcome. Foreseeing obstacles helps you not get derailed from a business plan. At the very end of this, I'm going to talk to you about the things that do derail us and give you some advice on staying on track. And then finally, the last thing that I want you to know is you need to get organized. This is under the enhancers and supplements that support this business plan. I tell everybody every year, and I do this for myself, clean your desk, take everything off your desk, take everything out of your desk. Sounds crazy? Absolutely. You want to clean your environment. You want to get technologies that help you, like CRMs. You want to get scheduling assistants like Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, or even your iPhone calendar. You want to go to Staples and buy the desk calendar. You want to get the journal. You want to get the pin board. All the enhancers and things that make you feel organized, working in a clean environment, and working in an environment that's undistracted, that allows you to focus on your plan. Start fresh when you start your business plan. It's going to make you feel incredible. So in wrapping up, let me give you these tips. Don't feel like the whole plan needs to be thrown out if you get off track just one day. I always tell everybody to just start over the next day. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have bad weeks and even bad months. If you measure your plan the way that I've taught you, you're going to know if you're getting off track and be able to tweak that plan and get back on schedule. So please, don't throw the plan away if you get off track. Just regroup, tweak the plan, and get back on track. Now, I'd like to bring Russ back, who's going to go over his philosophies of business planning.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate Christine Beckwith contributing to all of you across the country with the insight about measurable progress in your business planning and really understanding where you're at with your income today, looking forward to where you want to be as a residential real estate professional, and kind of trying to figure out who's on your team to help you and enhance your business opportunities. I think that Annie Mac Home Mortgage is one of those people that are in the cabinet of service providers to help you take your business to the next level. So I want to once again thank Christine Beckwith for joining Annie Mac Works for that session of business planning. And I want to share my 2 cents, my personal experience as a very young residential real estate agent, kind of riddled with ambition and drive. There's one thing that's for sure is nobody can teach drive. No motivational speaker, there's no book you can read. If you don't have that flame inside of you that's driving the desire to take your career to the next level, nobody can help you with anything in the residential real estate industry. But when you do have that fuel burning inside of you, you have that deep down burning desire to take your business to the next level, to take your income to the next level, or take your lifestyle, your personal lifestyle and the lifestyle of your family to that next level. There's an ambition that's inside of you. And when you're fueled by that type of ambition, I want to tell you, it's a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes when you're at home, you feel like you should be at work. And sometimes when you're at work, you feel like you should be at home. And a lot of times when that one deal doesn't go your way, the ambition is so strong that it actually becomes that your business plan is just more. More is not a good business plan. More is not a good business plan. Let me explain to you that in 32 years of observing residential real estate agents and working with executives like Christine Beckwith, one of the most important days was a recent branch manager meeting at Annie Mac Home Mortgage when the CEO of Annie Mac Home Mortgage said there's nothing in business that's more effective than incremental and measurable benchmarks. This is the CEO of a $4 billion mortgage company. And he's basically stating to his branch managers across the country that if you're going to take your branch to the next level, it's because there's measurable, quantifiable benchmarks that you're measuring along the way. So I just want to share with you a system that I started using back in the late 80s, show my age a little bit, that once I started to use the source of business charting, it became a calming influence over my professional endeavor. So I want to invite you to explore source of business charting on Annie Mac Works. There is a module, it's about 45 minutes long, that digs into how to manage your source of business chart and how to measure incremental benchmarks to measure along the way through source of business charting. I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you're a residential real estate agent in one of those rooms across the country at the National Lunch and Learn League event, and you're looking to take your career to the next level. So let me give you 4 sources of business and show you how you might chart those sources of business. Earlier in the year, we hosted a for sale by owner conversion course called eBowl. Some of you remember it. And let's just say that you're one of those ambitious realtors in the room that want to take their income to the next level, and you decide unilaterally with definite purpose and commitment that you're going to start utilizing the for sale by owner assistance program called eBowl. So when you chart this out on your annual plan, is it reasonable to say that you're going to take 2 listings a month during your first year doing it? That's 24 listings. That might not be reasonable. Is it reasonable that if you set aside a few hours a week for the eBowl system, that you might have an unquenchable more attitude, and no matter what you achieved, wouldn't feel like success to you? I know a lot of realtors across the country that are like that. But what if we said to each other that on your source of business chart, you didn't say you were going to list 2 houses a month, you didn't even say you were going to list 1 house a month, but instead, through your eBowl for sale by owner assistance program, you were able to list and successfully sell 4 for sale by owners per year. That's one per quarter. What, an average commission of $6,000 per? You might be looking at an extra $24,000 a year. So that's one column of your source of business chart. Now let's take another example. Let's say you visited with Annie Mac Home Mortgage. You spent some time with your mortgage professional there in your local market, and he or she turned you on to a vehicle called Farming Fridays. And the geographic farming opportunity was something that was impressed upon you, and as a realtor, you acknowledged and made a commitment to your own geographic farm area. Now, in a second distinct column from your e-bowl system, you've all of a sudden built a new source of business called geographic farming that's responsible for an additional 4 sales per contract year. Maybe as a standalone vehicle, that's not the sexiest piece of your business plan, but it's $24,000 a year, separate and distinct from the e-bowl column, that becomes a perpetual source of business that's not only possible, but I'd like to say probable and likely. What a concept in source of business charting, that we're not looking for extraordinary results from any one source of business, but instead we're looking at results that are probable and likely, possible for you to achieve. So 4 sales from for sale by owner, 4 sales from your farming. Maybe you took a look at our customer first professional designation, and you took some time through your Annie Mac loan officer to dig in to the customer first professional designation. And what you learned is that your past customers and your personal sphere of influence, your reputation among your personal sphere of influence and your past customers, turns into a separate and distinct source of business. Now all of a sudden you're managing 3 sources of business, none of which are creating results that are extraordinary, but instead a result with your past customers and your personal sphere of influence that is not only possible, and this is the key to business planning, that you build an internal conviction, a sense of certainty that it's not only possible, but it's actually probable and likely that you achieve 4 sales from your past customers and your personal sphere of influence. Some of you out there are going, this is underwhelming, Russ. This isn't that sexy. This isn't that exciting. But now you've got 3 sources of business that are averaging 4 sales each. Now you start to control your own destiny. Now you start to play golf with a par. You understand that as long as you do 4 from for sale by owner, 4 from your geographic farm, and 4 from your past customers, all of a sudden, now you're into 12 closings a year, funding about $74,000 a year from those 3 sources of business. One more source I want to hit. What if you partnered with your mortgage professional on your MyWorks Suite account? What if you partnered, truly locked arms and partnered with your mortgage professional on the new Annie Mac Property Works lead generation systems? And because of that, you were able to draw in a separate and distinct source of business that generates an extra 4 successful closed and funded deals this year. Now, wait a minute, guys. Are we cooking with gas? Are we doing something that's special? Although it seems incremental, measurable, and not that extraordinary, now you're managing 4 separate and distinct sources of business. And let's just say the Property Works lead generation system with your Annie Mac Pro averages 4 sales a year. Well, we're using that round number to kind of articulate the general concept here. 4 sources of business, 4 separate and distinct sources of business that each land a result that's not only possible, but probable and likely, that you believe in with your whole heart and soul, that you personally walk in to 2018 with your shoulders back, your chest out, and a sense of purpose, a sense of urgency, a sense of clarity about what you're trying to achieve. Now you've got 4 sources of business that are generating 4 sales each. That's 16 closings a year. And do you guys know that puts you in the top 1 or 2% of all residential real estate professionals in the country? Not because you're doing any one thing extraordinarily, but because, like Joe Panavienko, the CEO of AndyMac Home Mortgage, said, that you're running a business that has quantified, measurable benchmarks that are not only achievable, but something that you personally believe. See, if you write your business plan without a core sense of conviction, it's a waste of paper. But when you write your business plan out with thoughtful consideration, deep forethought, and you understand that those 4 sources of business that we talked about are going to average 4 sales each, that's your first 16 sales per calendar year. And you're probably looking at a 6-figure income that becomes a foregone conclusion, rather than a wandering sense of generality where you're not sure where your next deal is going to come from. Hey, it's my pleasure to help run the AndyMac Works productivity platform. One more great thank you to Christine Beckwith, Buffy the Mortgage Slayer, for that awesome 7 philosophies of business planning. And again, it's always my pleasure, it's always my privilege to be invited into those rooms for the National Lunch and Learn League events. And remember, at AndyMac Home Mortgage, our success truly is measured by yours.